and welcome to the CEC Gurukul live lecture series on Introduction to Indian Philosophy, and our today's topic is Introduction to Jainism, and I will discuss in it the 24 Tirthankaras today. So, Jainism is an old or ancient system of thought as well as religion. When we think of Jainism, we are at once reminded of Mahavira, for we associate only Mahavir with Jainism. But Mahavir is not the only spiritual teacher or Tirthankara of this system. As I discussed in the last lecture, he belongs to the 6th century, but Jainism is much older than that. Their first Tirthankara is Rishabdev. You will be amazed to know that during the time of the Mahabharata, Jainism was led by their 22nd Tirthankara, Neminath, who belonged to the same Yadav clan to which Sri Krishna belonged. However, the system got prominence in the 8th century when Parshvanath led the order. He was the 23rd Tirthankara. Initially, Jainism as a system of thought was part of the Shramana Sangha or the Shramana order, but it became a separate school when Mahavira took over as the 24th Tirthankara. Generally, it is believed that there are 5 prominent Tirthankaras. They are Rishabdeva, Shantinath, Neminath, Parshvanath and Mahavira. But we, as students of philosophy, must know all the 24 Tirthankaras of this cosmic age. Of this cosmic age? What does this expression mean? According to Jainism, time is infinite and is divided into infinite equal time cycles or cosmic ages called Utsarpini or the ascending time cycle, which is progressive, and Avasarpani, the descending time cycle, which is regressive. And these two cosmic ages or time cycles, or as they may be called Kala Chakras, are further divided into 6 unequal periods or Aras. In the Utsarpani or the ascending cosmic age, there is movement of progression in prosperity, growth, happiness, energy, age, body, religion, etc. Meaning it is the time of movement from worst to the best. While in the Avasarpani or the descending cosmic age, there is a regressive or backward movement in which prosperity, growth, happiness, energy, age, body, etc. they move from best to the worst. And every cosmic age has its own 24 Tirthankaras. When Utsarpani cycle ends, the Avasarpani cycle begins, and when Avasarpani cycle ends, Utsarpani cycle begins, and it goes on endlessly. So, if we go by the tradition, we are in the 5th Ara or period of the Avasarpani phase. We must now try to understand the 5 types of supreme beings called Pancha Parameshtins, worshipped by the Jainas, who for them are their ideals in the different stages of realization. But before that, one thing needs to be clarified, and that is Jainism does not believe in any creator of the world. So there's no creation. As I just stated, it's beginningless and endless cycle. So let us first discuss the Siddha Parameshtin. The Siddha Parameshtins are the ones who have been liberated from the samsara or the cycle of birth and death. They have conquered all their karmas and have obtained omniscience and supreme bliss. They are the ideals for all who aim to break the shackles of samsara. Then in the hierarchy come those who have attained Keval Gyan. They are the Tirthankaras, who reveal to the human beings the path which leads to liberation. These pure selves, despite being trapped in the human body, are not contaminated by its imperfections and impurities. They are full of love and compassion for all living beings. They wander around the country to preach dharma and lead people to the path of liberation. There are 5 auspicious events known as the Panch Kalyanas which occur in the lives of these Tirthankaras. They are Swargavatarana, which is the descent of the soul to become a Tirthankara. Then it is Mandarabhisheka or Janmabhisheka, which is performing an abhisheka or ablution on the birth of the Tirthankara. Then there is Diksha, when the Tirthankara renounces his kingdom and worldly possessions and becomes a yogi. Then the 4th, which is Kevalotpatti, when the Tirthankara attains Keval Gyan or omniscience as a result of tapas and the destruction of karmas. At this time, the Tirthankara delivers his first sermon. And 5th, which is Punarnirvan or Parinirvan rather. This is complete destruction of karmas and the attainment of liberation. A Tirthankara becomes or is considered a Siddha after this. But we must understand that the Tirthankaras are not worshipped like gods in the Jaina tradition. Rather, they are greatly respected, admired, extolled and celebrated by people, for they are the representatives of the Supreme Reality who can instill in them the highest virtues and inspire them to take to the path of liberation. Now let us discuss the last 3 of the Pancha Parmeshtins. Next in the hierarchy are the Acharya Parmeshtins. They are free from attachment to the objects of this world and are filled with love and sympathy for all living beings. They are in possession of Ratna Traya, the 3 jewels: right belief, which is Samyak Darshan, right knowledge, which is Samyak Gyan, and right conduct, which is Samyak Charitra. Evil emotions like anger, desire, etc. do not touch them. The 5 vows of Jainism, namely non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy and non-attachment, are firmly rooted in them. And they have the authority to initiate the seekers into the Jaina Dharma. Next come the Upadhyaya Parmeshtins. They propagate the Jaina Dharma so that those who are in the clutches of samsara can be educated about the path to liberation. They, however, do not have the authority to initiate people into the Jaina Dharma. Last in the hierarchy are the Sadhu Parmeshtins. And they do not have any specific purpose, but through their conduct they become excellent examples for others to take to the path of liberation. Now let us come back to the Tirthankaras of this age. You will find it interesting to know that there is an episode or event related to their birth and their getting their names. And mostly their names are attributed to the dreams that their mothers had just before their births. Each Tirthankara has a symbol attached to him and a tree under which he gained Keval Gyan. The Tirthankara sits around the Tirthankaras are surrounded by their Gandharas or chief disciples when they give sermons, because they, the Gandharas, interpret and convey to the people the divine sound that emanates from the Tirthankara when he delivers a sermon. Now let us come to the first Tirthankara, which is Rishabhdeva. Now Rishabhdev is also known by the name Adinath. He was the son of King Nabhi and Queen Marudeva. He was born at Ayodhya. Before his birth, his mother saw a bull in her dream, so he was named Rishabh. He got liberation at Mount Ashtapada. In his first sermon, he taught people to avoid laziness and too much sleep, as these are hindrances in the path to liberation. He had 84 Gandharas. He is associated with two symbols. One is ox, which symbolizes farming, and the other is Dharma Chakra. The tree associated with him is Vata, or the banyan tree. I want to add here that we find references about him in the Vishnu Puran as well as in the Bhagavad Purana. And these references are about his rejection of the authority of the Vedas as well as the Vedic teachings pertaining to sacrificial practices. Now let us discuss the second Tirthankara, Ajit Nath. Now he was the son of King Jatashatru and Queen Vijaya. He too was born at Ayodhya. Before his birth, his mother saw an elephant in her dream, and you know that an elephant symbolizes strength and power. Also, when he was born, all his father's enemies were conquered. Hence, he was named Ajit, the invincible one. He got liberation at Samet Shikhar 3 years after attaining Samyak Darshan. I should tell you here that Samyak Darshan is the first step towards the path to liberation. In fact, there is an interesting story which explains how he attained Samyak Darshan. Once King Vimal Vahana visited a sage who had just arrived in his kingdom. This was a usual practice for the kings to go see the visiting sadhus and take their blessings. So King Vimal Vahana he went to the sadhu, and he was a curious king. He was very curious by nature. So out of curiosity, he asked the sadhu the reason behind his taking Diksha. The sadhu was impressed, and he narrated to the king the incident that changed his life. The sage said that he once saw a garden that was full of green trees and blooming flowers. It was so beautiful that one could sit there forever and not get tired. But after a few days, when he passed through the same garden again, it was all destroyed. The trees, the flowers were all gone. And that was the moment of realization for him. He realized that just like the garden, our body will also be destroyed. It is bound to get destroyed. Nothing remains forever. One has to get out of this cycle of births and deaths, and Diksha is the only solution. Now, this story narrated by the sage had so much impact on the king that he immediately attained Samyak Darshan. And in his next birth, he became the second Tirthankara and was called Ajit Nath. Ajit Nath had 94 Gandharas, and the topic of his first sermon was Dharma Dhyan. His symbol is elephant, and the tree under which he got Keval Gyan is Kevala Vriksha. Now let us discuss the third Tirthankara, Sambhava Nath. He was the son of King Dhritaraj and Queen Sushena and was born at Shravasti Nagari. His father, King Dhritaraj, was extremely worried and grieved to see the situation of the people of his kingdom as they were suffering in the grip of famine as well as plague. But when the king got the news of the birth of his child, he felt hopeful and confident about the possibility of a good fortune for the people of his kingdom. So he named his son Sambhava. It is believed that in his previous life he was Vipul Vahana, the king of Shemapuri. He was full of compassion and love for his people. Once his kingdom faced severe drought. It was so damaging that it led to scarcity of food. Common people somehow managed to survive by eating all sorts of food, including the ones prohibited in the Jaina tradition. But there were sadhus and sadhavis who had nothing to eat as they followed diet restrictions, food restrictions. Witnessing their plight and to save their lives, King Vipul Vahana decided to prepare food for them from his own stock. With this action, he at once gained Samyak Darshan. Sambhavnath attained moksha or liberation at Samet Shikhar. In fact, it took him 3 births after Samyak Darshan to attain liberation. And the tree under which he attained Keval Gyan is Sal. His first sermon was on Anitya Bhavna, which means the ephemeral nature of our bodily existence. He had 102 Gandharas and his symbol is horse. Now, the 4th Tirthankara and his name is Abhinandana. He was the son of King Swayamvara and Queen Siddhartha. He was born in Ayodhya. He got his name because the legend says that when he was to be born, people in the kingdom were filled with the feelings of politeness and humility towards each other. Later in life, he became a successful king, and after ruling for a period of, for a long period, I should say, he took to asceticism. He practiced a lot of penance, which led him to attain Samyak Darshan. The tree under which he attained Keval Gyan is the Piyala tree. The topic of his first sermon was Asharan Bhavana, meaning nothing can protect us. We alone have to endure the results of our karmas. He had 116 Gandharas. His symbol is monkey, and he attained liberation at Samet Shikhar. Now let us discuss the 5th Tirthankara, and his name is Sumati Nath. He was born to King Meghratha and Queen Sumangala at Kankanapur. When he was to be born, his mother's intellect perfected, and that is why he was given the name Sumati. In due course, he inherited the kingdom, and after a long and peaceful reign, he became an ascetic. The tree under which he got Keval Gyan is Priyamgu. He had 100 Gandharas. The topic of his first sermon was Ekatva Bhavna, which means each individual comes to this world alone, goes out of this world alone, and pays for his deeds alone. His symbol is heron. He got nirvana at Samet Shikhar. Now, the 6th Tirthankara, Padma Prabha. His name means lotus bright. He is the son of King Sridhar and Queen Sushima. He was born in the town of Koshambi. He got the name Padma Prabha because his mother wanted to lie down on the bed of lotuses before his birth. He took 3 births after Samyak Darshan to attain moksha or nirvana. He had 107 Gandharas. His first sermon was on Sansara Bhavna. He compared Sansar with ocean and said that just as the water in the ocean cannot be measured or estimated, similarly the number of births and deaths one has to go through cannot be estimated. And what body the soul will take in the next life will be determined by the deeds one performs in one's previous lives. A person has to undergo a lot of pain and suffering in this whole process. Whether a person is born as a deva or a king, it does not matter. For still, he is not free from the clutches of suffering. Death is imminent, and hence Padma Prabha preached the significance of Diksha, which leads one to the path of liberation or moksha. The tree under which he gained Keval Gyan is Chatrabha, and the place of his nirvana is Samet Shikhar. His symbol is lotus. Now, the 7th Tirthankara, and his name is Suparshvanath. He was the son of King Supratishta and Queen Prithvi. He was born in Varanasi. It is believed that his mother was cured from leprosy before his birth, and therefore he was given the name Suparshva, meaning good-sided. Because Su means good and Parshva means sides. He attained nirvana at Samet Shikhar, and the tree under which he gained Keval Gyan is Sirisha. He had 95 Gandharas. The topic of his first sermon was Anyatva Bhavna, which means that our soul is different from everything in the world. It alone is permanent. Everything else, including our body, is temporary, and therefore it is important to take care of the needs of the soul rather than those of the body, because it is the soul alone that can take us to the path of moksha. Because of ignorance, we overlook the needs of the soul and give importance to the body only, and thus one must develop Anyatva Bhavna, for it will enable a person to differentiate between body and soul and realize whatever pain one undergoes is related to the body and not to the soul. And his symbol is Swastika. The 8th Tirthankara now, and his name is Chandraprabha. He was the son of King Mahasena and Queen Lakshmana. He was born in the Chandrapuri Nagri. Before his birth, his mother longed to drink the moon, and when he was born, he looked as bright as the moon, and so he was named Chandraprabha, which means moon bright. He attained nirvana at Samet Shikhar. The tree under which he gained Keval Gyan is Naga. He had 94 Gandharas. His first sermon was on Ashuchi Bhavna. Now the word Ashuchi means impure or unclean, and he considered the body to be unclean. However much we try to clean our body with the soap, sandal paste, etc., it will not help. It will remain as dirty as ever, and it is easy to understand, as we all know that our body consists of many kinds of wastes. So there is no point in wasting time in this unfruitful cleansing process. Rather, one should focus on purifying and cleaning one's soul, and this can be done by performing religious practices and following the path of dharma. His symbol is moon. Now let us discuss the ninth Tirthankara, and his name is Suvidhinath. He is the son of King Sugriv and Queen Rama. He was born in Kakandi Nagari. It is believed that when he was born, not just the fights among his family members ended, but also they started performing religious practices. And so he was named Suvidhi, which means good order. He is also known by the name Pushpadanta because he had beautiful teeth. He attained moksha at Samet Shikhar, and the tree under which he attained Keval Gyan is Naga. He had 88 Gandharas. His first sermon was on Sharva Bhavana. Bhavana means having an attitude towards something. So it is basically not the action but the intention or thought behind the action that determines what sort of karmas one has accumulated. Different bhavanas help in generating pure thoughts and expelling the evil ones. The word ashrava means the coming or the influx of karmas. And this coming or influx of karmas happens when thought, word and deed integrate. So, meditating on Ashrava Bhavana, one should focus on the 42 ways which lead to the inflow of karma. And these 42 ways include number 1, the threefold karma of body, which is threefold karma of in fact body, speech and mind. And number 2 is the 5 sense organs which are directed towards the objects of this world and lead to the feelings of attachment and dislike for them. Number 3, the 4 passions or negative emotions, namely Krodh, which is anger, Lobha, which is greed, Mana, which is ego, and Maya, that is deceit. The 4th, which is number 4, the 25 kriyas or actions that we generally do in our day-to-day lives. And number 5 it consists of the 5 vows. So if you calculate the actions from these 5 categories, you will find that they add up to 42. And these 42 causes of ashrava must be meditated upon in order to be negated or avoided, so that the inflow of karmas can be reduced and ultimately stopped. The symbol of Suvidhinath is crab. Now we discuss the 10th Tirthankara, and his name is Sheetalanath. He was the son of King Dridarath and Queen Sunanda. He was born at Bhadilpur. He was called Sheetala because he had this miraculous ability to cure fever and bring coolness to the patients. He gained Samyak Darshan on seeing the destruction of snow. He got liberation at Samet Shikhar. He had 87 Gandharas. His symbol is both Shrivatsa and Swastika. Now let us discuss the 11th Tirthankara, and his name is Shreyamsanath. He was born to King Vishnudeva and Queen Vishnudevi at Simhapuri, which is a place near Sarnath. It is believed that his father's throne was taken over by an evil spirit and it would not let anyone sit on it. But when his mother, with him inside her womb, sat on it, nothing adverse happened. So he was named Shreyamsa, meaning good. And his symbol is rhinoceros, and the tree under which he got Keval Gyan is the mango tree. He attained Nirvana at Samet Shikhar. Now we discuss the 12th Tirthankara, and his name is Vasu Pujya. He was the son of King Vasu and Queen Jayavati. He was born at Champapuri in Bihar. There is a legend attached to his birth that just when he was to be born, Indra with other devas visited his father, worshipped him and gave him a lot of wealth. So he was named Vasu Pujya. He taught the importance of dharma. According to him, moksha or liberation is the fruit of dharma. He attained nirvana at Champapuri only. His symbol is buffalo. According to one belief, the tree under which he got Keval Gyan is Patalika, while according to another it is Kadamba. Now the 13th Tirthankara. The 13th Tirthankara is Vimalanath. Born to King Kritvarman and Queen Suramya at Kampilya, he was named Vimalnath, meaning the Lord of Clearness, because his mother's intellect got cleared just before his birth. His sign is a boar, and the tree under which he got Keval Gyan is Jambu. He attained Nirvana at Samet Shikhar. Now, the 14th Tirthankara, and the name of the 14th Tirthankara is Anantanath. He was the son of King Simha Sena and Queen Jayashyama of Ayodhya. Before his birth, his mother dreamt of an endless strand of pearls, and his father's glory also increased many-fold, and so he was named Ananta. After leading a normal life, he took to asceticism. He gained Keval Gyan under the Ashoka tree. He had 50 Gandharas, and his first sermon was on the basic subject of matter and life. He attained Nirvana at Samet Shikhar. According to the Shwetambaras, his symbol is hawk, and for the Digambaras, his symbol is a bear. Now, the 15th Tirthankara. The name of 15th Tirthankara is Dharmanath. He was the son of King Bhanu Raj and Queen Suvrata. He was born in Ratnapuri. He was named Dharma because his mother performed many religious ceremonies before his birth. After ruling successfully for some years, he became an ascetic. One belief is that he gained Keval Gyan under the Dadhiparna tree, and the other belief is that it was the Saptachada tree. His first sermon was on the various forms as well as the ill effects of passions. He attained Nirvana at Samet Shikhar, and his symbol is thunderbolt. Now the 16th Tirthankara, and his name is Shantinath. He was the son of King Vishwasena and Queen Achira. He was born at Hastinapur. He was named Shanti because his birth brought peace and averted epidemics and miseries of people. He became a great ruler and brought peace and tranquility to his people. But when he was reminded of his past births, he gave up his worldly life and took to asceticism. After 16 years of leading the life of an ascetic, he gained Keval Gyan under a Nandi tree. His first sermon was on disciplining the senses. He attained Nirvana at Samet Shikhar. His symbol is deer. Now let us discuss the 17th Tirthankara, and his name is Kunthunath. He is the son of King Shivaraj and Queen Sridevi of Hastinapur. Because just before his birth, his mother saw a large heap or kuntha of jewels in her dream. He was given the name Kuntu. As time passed, he became a great ruler, and after ruling for a comfortable number of years, he took to asceticism. The tree under which he got Keval Gyan is Tilaktaru. His first sermon was on inner purity. He attained nirvana at Samet Shikhar, and his symbol is goat. Now the 18th Tirthankara, and his name is Aranath. He was the son of King Sudarshana and Queen Mitrasena Devi. His mother saw a wheel or ara of jewels before his birth, so he was named Ara. When he grew up and became a great king, many kings accepted his authority. Once a thought just came across his mind, and that really changed his entire life. And it was about how the seasons are ever changing. This thought led to a series of other sublime thoughts, and he felt a complete detachment from the world. And he became an ascetic. After wandering for 3 years, he got Keval Gyan under the mango tree. The topic of his first sermon was how to defeat the two great enemies of man, attachment and aversion. He had 32 Gandharas, and his symbol is swastika. He attained liberation at Samet Shikhar. Now the 19th Tirthankara, and the name of the 19th Tirthankara is Malli. There is a division in the Shvetambara and the Digambara sects of Jainism regarding the gender of Malli. The Shvetambaras believe that Malli was a woman and was the daughter of King Kumbha and Queen Prajavati of Mithila. And because her mother desired to wear a garland made of flowers called Mallika before her birth, she was named Malli. But the Digambaras believe that Malli was not a woman, as for them, women can never be liberated or become a Tirthankara. Anyway, there are many stories related to Malli Kumari, as she was a beautiful princess and many kings wanted to marry her. I will relate one incident which shows how philosophical and upright Malli Kumari was. Now, as I said that there were many kings who wanted to marry her, but when their proposals were rejected by the father of Malli, they brought their armies to Mithila to pacify their insult. It's a long story, but I will just tell you what Malli Kumari said to these kings when she met them. She said that the body is nothing more than the flesh and the bones, which is maintained by what we eat, and what we eat decomposes. Why one should be infatuated with something that decomposes? So you should all rise above this infatuation. With these words of Malli, the hearts of these kings changed, and when ultimately Malli took to asceticism, these kings joined her to become ascetics. So that's the summary of the story. Now Malli got Keval Gyan under the Ashoka tree and attained nirvana at Samet Shikhar. The topic of her first sermon was equanimity. Her symbol is a water jar. Now the 20th Tirthankara, and his name is Muni Suvrata. Now he was the son of King Sumitra and Queen Padmavati of Rajgriha. Since his mother observed all the vows prescribed in the system before his birth, he was named Muni Suvrata, as it means to vow like ascetics. He became a king and ruled for many years, and then took to asceticism. The tree under which he got Keval Gyan is Champaka. The topic of his first sermon was scriptural and applied philosophy. His symbol is a tortoise. He got Nirvana at Samet Shikhar. Now the 21st Tirthankara, and his name is Naminath. He was the son of King Vijay and Queen Vipra of Mithila. His father's enemies bowed before him and accepted his authority over them just when he was to be born. So he was named Nami. He became a successful king, and after ruling for a long period of time, he became an ascetic. And after 9 months of asceticism, he got Keval Gyan under the Bakula tree. His first sermon was on right perception. He practiced spiritual and religious duties for a long time after that and attained Nirvana at Samet Shikhar. His symbol is blue lotus. Now, the 22nd Tirthankara, and his name is Neminath, and I have already discussed about him in the beginning of the lecture. Now, he is also known by the name Arishtanemi. He was the son of King Samudra Vijaya and Queen Shivadevi of Mathura. Because his mother saw a wheel or nemi of black jewels or Arishta before his birth, he was named Arishtanemi. The younger brother of King Samudra Vijay was Vasudeva, who had a son Balaram from his senior wife Rohini and Krishna from his junior wife Devaki. The whole clan moved to Dwarka as there were continuous threats from other adjoining kingdoms. Nemi Kumar was never attracted towards the worldly pleasures. He was full of detachment. Perceiving this, the elders thought that perhaps marriage would change his life and attitude towards the world. So, they fixed his marriage with the sister of Krishna's wife Satyabhama, and when the marriage procession was going to the bride's place, Nemi Kumar saw on the side of the road a large number of caged animals, all wailing, crying. He asked his chariot driver as to why so many animals were caged. His driver said that they are caged because they will be butchered and cooked for the guests coming for the wedding. Nemi Kumar was filled with grief and sorrow, and he said to the chariot driver that he cannot be the cause of the bondage and killing of these animals, and so he is not going to marry at all, and ordered the release of all the animals and removed all his jewels from the body, from his body. And this news panicked everyone, and the elders tried very hard to persuade him to not go back, but he was firm, and he said to the elders, "As these animals were prisoners in the cages, we all are prisoners in cages of karma, which are much stronger than these fences. See the feeling of joy evident in the animals released from the cages. Know that happiness is in freedom, not in bondage. I want to tread the path of breaking this bondage of karma and embrace eternal bliss. Please do not stop me." And he returned to Dwarka, and after a year he took to asceticism. His elder brother Krishna, while bidding farewell to him, blessed him and wished him success. The tree under which Neminath got Keval Gyan is Mahavira. His symbol is a conch shell. And the place where he attained Nirvana is Mount Girnar. Now let us discuss the 23rd Tirthankara, and his name is Parshvanath. He perhaps belongs to the 7th or the 8th century BCE. He was the son of King Ashvasena and Queen Vama of Varanasi. His mother saw a serpent crawling around her before his birth, so he got the name Parshva. He became an ascetic at the age of 30 and practiced penance for 83 years and gained Keval Gyan. And after that, he preached for about 70 years and attained Nirvana at the age of 100 at Samet Shikhar. His first sermon was on the form of religion, and he preached the Chatur Yama Dharma, or the fourfold duty of an individual necessary for the upliftment of the soul, which includes non-violence, truth, non-stealing and non-possession. He had 8 Gandharas and his symbol is snake. Now the last Tirthankara, the 24th Tirthankara of Jainism, and you all know his name is Mahavira. He is also known by the name Vardhaman. And we all know that he is the most popular, revered and prominent of all the Tirthankaras. He was born to Siddhartha and Trishila in 599 BCE. Siddhartha, Mahavira's father, was the chief of the village called Kundangram, somewhere near Vaishali. Because his family's wealth was increasing day by day before his birth, he was named Vardhaman. And because of his qualities of endurance and courage, he was called Mahavira. Despite being surrounded by pleasures of all worlds, Vardhaman remained detached from them. He became an ascetic at the age of 30 when his parents died. And before taking to asceticism, he resolved, "In my ascetic life, I will remain equanimous in all conditions and circumstances. I will tolerate every affliction or predicament caused by man, god, demon or animal equally, no matter how fearsome it is. As long as I do not attain omniscience, I will continue to tread the fire-paved path of purity with unflinching and firm steps." After 12 years of asceticism, when he was once sitting under a sala tree which was near Parshvanath hills, he gained Keval Gyan and became a Tirthankara. And in those 12 years of asceticism, he practiced deep and undisturbed meditation, rigorous penance, extreme tolerance of pain, and ultimate equanimity. He had 11 Gandharas who were basically Brahmins of high repute. In fact, the day on which Mahavira was to give his first sermon, a great yajna was to happen in that area, as it was a customary thing to happen there every year. And when these 11 Brahmins got to know about the deliverance of Mahavira's first sermon on the same day, they all got worried and confused, for they all knew that Mahavira was anti-yajna, or he had an attitude, a negative attitude towards the performance of yajna. So they decided to confront Mahavira and defeat him with their unmatchable knowledge. But on seeing Mahavira, their egos were shredded into pieces and they all became his chief disciples. So that was the story. Anyway, Mahavira got Nirvana at the age of 72 in 527 BCE at Pavapuri, which is in Bihar. His symbol is a lion. And now I will end my lecture here, and next time when I see you, when you will see me, I will talk about the central teaching of Jainism. Thank you so much.